Hi, everybody. So we are going to talk about the Lightroom Workspace. So we turn on Lightroom. Right now, you're probably seeing really nothing in this area. Um, but for me, I got lots of things in this area. So let's talk about this Lightroom Classic stuff. Let's break it down into a simple space. We're going to go over some things, and we'll make this nice and short and sweet. Okay, so the first thing is Lightroom is this really wonderful program that helps us organize and edit all of our images. So if you're looking at the screen right now, you're probably saying, "My goodness, she's got a lot of photos." And I do. I do. And these are all my photos that I started over this last 6 months when I started a new catalog. We'll talk about that in a second. So Lightroom, what Lightroom is all about, it's all about non-destructive editing. So I can take an image, I can make this image black and white, and the original image is still always intact, and I can make all these different variations. So if we start on the very top hand side, we have this module. This is called the library module. Then we have the develop module. We have the map, books, slideshow, print, and web. The two main ones you're going to always be using is going to be library and develop. Okay, so our library panel or module is about where we organize our images. And you can see, like I showed you earlier, I got a lot of images. Okay, so if we look at the very left, we're going to see the navigator. The navigator tells us, hey, what image we're on at this time. Just a funny photo shoot. So underneath that, we have the catalog. The catalog is where all of my photos are. So I want you to think of the catalog as a notebook. And if I had a notebook and every single time I took a photo, I put that in the notebook. And at the end of the day, let's say at the end of the 6 months of me just working, I have 5,531 images inside of that notebook. But I always have that notebook that I can go to, and that's my place where all my photos are at. Underneath that, we have a panel called folders, and then we have a panel called collection. The collections are like albums, and it's a way to organize our images into little sections. So for instance, for my Lightroom class, I have all these images ready to go for my Lightroom class, and then I broke it up some more under some specifics. So I have these images from the first half of this photo shoot called Danielle. I have another photo shoot called Melissa and Yogi. I got another one for real estate. And I got another one for my lovely aunt. I have some night stuff that I did. And I have some branding work that I did for a coffee house. So again, the collections are like albums. That's basically what they are. And it's just a place to kind of organize, and I can make folders and I can make sub-albums. All right. Let's look at the right-hand side. So the right-hand side right here, this is a histogram. A histogram is a graphical indication of luminance. It's a graph of the image. It's pretty neat. And it can tell us some more information. So it can tell us information about the image itself, like what ISO, what lens it was shot at, what the f-stop is, and the shutter speed. In addition, I have some more panels. So I have a quick develop panel that I don't use too often because I really just use the develop panel, but we have that. I have an area where I can do keywording, which is going to help when I'm searching. So the fact that I have 5,000 images, adding keywords is really helpful. So I might look at this image right here and I might want to write the word espresso. And then every single time when I'm doing a search, I'll type in the word espresso, and every single time I have an image that has espresso in it that I've keyworded, I'll find that image. Then we have some other ones that over time I've already started. So these are suggestions. Then we have sets. We have areas where we can add in metadata and areas where we can add in comments. So and the next one is the develop panel. So the develop panel is where we're going to actually do our edits. So let's go and find an image that we want to do a little bit of editing on. Let's say this one right in here. Okay, so I'll go into the develop panel. In my develop panel on the left-hand side, you'll still see that navigator. Underneath that, we have presets. So presets are going to be like filters, and they're going to be these already made for you filters. So if there's a style that you like, you can just use that. You can also create your own presets and save them, which is really neat once you develop your own style. Let's go ahead and reset that. Okay, from there, let's look at our history panel. Our history panel is going to be all the history of the edits. So you can see all my history right in here when I was showing you. And then we have that collection panel one more time. On the right-hand side, there's that histogram again, where we can look at the graph. You can actually edit this graph. You can pull it and do some quick editing right in there. It's pretty powerful. And then we have all these various panels right in here. We have our basics panel, we have our tonal curve, we have a color mixer, color grading, details, lens correction, transform, lens blur, effects, and then calibration. Wow, that was a lot to say, and that's a lot there. Okay, so your number one thing, especially in the beginning, is just use the basics panel. And then you can do things like setting up your white balance. You can adjust your exposure. Now, if you've taken my photo class, you'll know that I really try my darndest to do it right the first time and actually when I shoot it. But, like in any essay, you're never going to write an essay and not proofread it. And that's kind of what I always do when I'm developing. So I'll just spend a little bit of time and making some corrections. Here we go. And that's it. I'm just going to leave it there for that for now. And then our next one is our maps panel. So our maps panel is pretty neat. If your photos have GPS on them, and let's get to a place where we can actually see. So you'll notice this. Let me just show you really fast. So you don't see anything right here. And that's because of the actual collection that I'm in. It doesn't have images that have GPS, but we're going to go to all photos. We're going to go to develop and then map, excuse me. We should have just went directly to maps. And then you're going to see the few photos that I have. And those are photos that I shot on my iPhone. And my iPhone does have GPS. So the camera that I was using doesn't have GPS. But how neat is this? Is that I can click on this area right in here and see the images that I shot in that geographical place. Then we have the books panel. The books panel is when we're making books, and you can lay your images out any which way you want. Pretty neat. We can order books. You'll notice you have various side panels right in here. Your collection is still available. You have slideshows where we can make really quick slideshows of our work. We can preview. We cannot, we're going to cancel that because it could take a little bit of time. We have some areas where we can print. So if we're setting up prints, and you can see there's some templates and how we want to do that. So if I want to do 5x7s or 4x6s, we have these pre-made templates. And then lastly would be for the web, if I was going to make a website for a client. And again, you have all these various different panels. Okay. So above all, as we conclude this video, just know it may be overwhelming when you first look at it, but just really spend time and just looking at things in its small space. And before you know it, you'll be going back and forth in the library panel, the develop panel, library panel, the develop panel, before, back and forth all the time. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this short little video explaining what is the Adobe Lightroom Workspace.